Love opening up the show with some Hurricane 2000. Can I ask what the bleep happened on that final play? We have our goalie. We have to ask Owen, our senior goalie correspondent here. Nate Geary is in for Jeremy. It's Jeremy and Joe here on WGR. We got some football coming your way, but what happened on that last play? Where I had a near heart attack.
Crazy stuff happens when the goalie gets out of the net, and crazy stuff happens.
He lost his glove.
He lost his
Gloves.
Yeah, kind of looked maybe like both a little bit.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was his helmet.
Yeah, that's scary too.
Yeah.
It's like he exploded and everything fell off.
Right.
The pads fell off.
It was like when you die in a Lego game.
It's
and
like
all the Lego pieces fly off of you.
Yeah, it's like you
that.
just like you're skiing and things go wrong and everything's off of you.
Right.
Kind of is what it felt like.
Yeah, the skis blow
yard
up
sale,
into the air. Yeah.
Someone needs to make an edit where Alex Lyon is that Lego man you're talking about, and he turns into a Lego that just falls apart.
All the pieces are flopping around on the ice.
Also, did you think they were going to call tripping on that play?
Yeah, I did.
I thought they were going to, especially because they had given the Sabres 2 calls in the final 10 minutes.
Right.
I totally
They
thought
did
the
get
same
two.
thing.
They did get 2 good calls in the last. Yeah.
And listen, the Blues guy looked up for it immediately, like, he tripped me.
Right. I don't know.
Nothing called. That's fine. Good.
Goalie rules are weird.
Tell you what.
Krebs whips it down.
I was gonna say, don't let Peyton Krebs get his stick on a puck with an empty net, man.
Empty net king. 2 in the last
merchant.
couple of games.
Yeah.
Good morning. It is a 9-game win streak. We had Operation 10 straight last year, and they're going to do it. They're going to, we'll see. They have one more game to go, and they've got a tough opponent, so they might not get all the way to 10, but a 9-game win streak after last night's win over the Blues. As I mentioned, we'll get to some football today. But story in town, I feel like right now, is the hockey team's actually doing it. They're winning, and a lot of these games, they look really good while they're doing it. We'll talk to Paul today. We'll talk to Seth Appert today, Sabres assistant head coach, will be on with us at 8 a.m. But I'm falling for it. Like, there are some numbers that show maybe it's not as real as we think it is. But I think there are also some indicators that show that, no, this is probably real enough, given that the conference around them is still pretty weak. And you've got teams like Detroit and Montreal that I don't think are all that impressive ahead of you. Like, I'm buying in. I'm buying it, not just buying it on the win streak, because, of course, that's easy. It's fun, and it's easy to watch these games when they're good and winning. But I'm buying in on this is something that is sustainable for them. And last night was one of those games, because last night you saw for at least 40 minutes which team was the better hockey team, and it was the road team last night. Sabres were absolutely a better hockey team than that Blues team.
I thought they started really, really well, too. Like, they started fast. They looked like a fresh team coming off of a decently long break in the first period. And then, a couple of goals here, they got down. It's like when they get down, it doesn't feel like it has in the last couple of years. It's like, all right, well, 2-1. This game's over. Like, they're going to shut it down, and it's going to be that.
Right. No, they're certainly not doing that. They've had a couple of comebacks here along the way. I mean, Boston scores first a couple of nights ago, and they didn't waver from that. They leave the first period with a deficit against the Blues, and same thing.
It is funny, though. Like, Paul talked about this for, a month, about, they got to go on, a 10-game win streak just to kind of get back. It's like they win 9 in a row,
right?
And they're still not in the playoffs yet, which I think is...
Yeah, they're kind of in and kind of not.
How far they were out.
If you open up the standings today, without clicking anything, they'll be the first team out, tied in points with Florida. By points percentage, though, they are in a spot, if you want to do that. By points percentage, they would be above Washington. And if we have a lesson from the COVID pandemic in 2020, that when the season ended and, hey, that's it, no more games. We got to decide who's in based on how many games you've played. They did it by points percentage. So they're kind of in a spot right now as Washington lost last night, and they're at 577, and the Sabres are at 579, as the Sabres have only one less point but have played one fewer game. So it's a 9-game win streak, and everybody's contributing along the way. They're getting good goaltending. They're getting contributions from really all of their lines. Last night, I thought the McLeod-Benson line was amazing every time they were on the ice. Quinn, too. I don't want to leave him out. He had a couple of chances. Amazing he didn't score in that game.
It's funny. I've been thinking about this the last couple of days. When Zucker gets back in the lineup, I kind of just who's coming out?
Yeah. Right.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I thought yesterday maybe the Tage line didn't perform that well.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe that's an opportunity to get Zucker in for maybe you put him in Krebs' spot and you bump Krebs down to like the fourth line.
And bump like Dunn out of the lineup, but I've liked
Sure.
his game a lot, to be honest.
Right,
So-
or Greenway's doing this, I'm playing one game, I'm not playing the next game thing, so maybe that's easy for them to figure out for the next one. But they finished a little bit stronger, that line, so maybe they'll hold it together. I think that could be the spot. But, right, he joked with Paul the other day, Zucker, that I might never play again. Because if they just keep winning, you're going to keep rolling with the same lineup.
Yeah.
And, they keep winning. So why change it? 803-0550 is the phone number. I want to get to today the scenarios for the Bills and the place in the standings. Also, we haven't got Nate's take on Sunday's game yet. So we'll do that as well. But let's start with Paul in Buffalo on the phones. What's up, Paul?
Guys, what a streak they're on. Unbelievable. First and foremost, thank you to the team. Thank you to Terry Pagula for getting them in the right spot. Thank you for Lindy Ruff for getting the message across somehow, some way. I want to start with who has undoubtedly been our best player this season, Matthias Samuelsson. And boy, oh boy, I would have never thought I was going to say that going into the year. I can remember back to his rookie season, 53, 55 games in, whatever it was, when he got the contract. And I called in to then Howard and Jeremy, and Howard asked me, Paul, what do you think of this contract? And I said, Howard, he should fire his agent. And then for 2 years, I don't know if he was injured. I don't know if he lost confidence, but I do know he stopped hitting people. And I wanted him bought out. And now he's been our best player this season, and it's because he hits people. So for the hitting doesn't matter crowd, I want you to look at the Boston Bruin game. He leveled Morgan Geekie, and no Bruin did a thing. And then he hit easily Boston's best player and maybe the best winger in the Eastern Conference, David Pastrnak. Not once, not twice, but thrice. And it was on the third of the thrice hits that David Pastrnak crumpled against the boards and fell to the ice. And not a single Boston Bruin even looked at Matthias Samuelsson. You talk about the shoe being on the other foot. How does that feel? All you great, wonderful Bostonians. How does that feel to see David Pastrnak crumpled on the ice, to see Brad Marchand in Florida hoisting Stanley Cups? I hope that feels great for all you wonderful people in Boston. And now I'd like to move on to the Sabre with the highest hockey IQ on the team, and in my opinion, the highest hockey IQ we have seen since Sam Reinhart, and that is Zach Benson. I'm going to forget the game itself. His post-game interview last night, it was like you were hearing a 30-year-old veteran, and a darn good veteran. It was like hearing Ryan Miller give post-game interviews if Ryan Miller were ever joyful. Zach Benson, what a light he's been for this forward group. What a light he's been for a franchise. I cannot wait to watch this kid's career for the next 15 years, I hope, in a Sabre jersey. Guys, have a great show. Let's go, Sabres. The Dallas Stars are going to get rocked on New Year's Eve. Let's go.
Thanks, Paul, for the call. Yeah, I look at their team and I wonder, why is this happening? What's the reason? Why are they better? Because even on the totality of it, Lindy will point to, well, we're healthier. That we were struggling because look how many people were out of the lineup. Okay, let's take that into consideration that is true. Because actually right now you're seeing the evidence that maybe that is true, that they would be higher in the standings if they had just been healthy. Why are they better than last year? What's the reason for it? I think one of them, and maybe we could go through, there might be 10 reasons why they're better than they were last season and the year before. One of them, Paul mentions Benson. Part of it, I think, right now is you have two young players that are, how old's Osland? 21? And Benson is 20? You got two kids that have been placed into top six roles. Benson's kind of in a top six role right now. He really has been most of the year, though.
Kind of same thing about Josh Doan.
Yeah. But especially Benson and Ossel, they are placed into important roles, and they are up to it.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen kids placed into important roles for the Sabres over the last 5 games? And it's, they look good for this week, and they didn't look great the next week. And, we're seeing flashes. That was Quinn early. Peterka in his first year. We're seeing flashes, but then they disappear for a month. And then we see flashes, and they disappear for 3 weeks. Benson, Osland are kids playing in important roles. and there are no games off. Like every single game, even if they don't score, they are making a contribution. And I think that's a big reason why they are different.
I also think a little of that is coaching, because I think about the last couple of years, a Noah Ostlund, is he even getting a top 6 role opportunity? I mean, he came in because of injury and immediately got a top 6 role instead of playing 7 minutes a night and getting 2 shifts a period on the fourth line.
That might be where injury helped them, because I wonder if they even would have got to him if
I don't know.
He didn't get a chance.
I doubt they do, because he just was he felt to me the same as Roseanne did in some ways, where it was just like, you'll get in if you get in. We'll see. And then he came up and just ripped it right out of the, he ripped it out the opportunity.
It's funny. It's funny too, because like him getting sent back down. Like I was early on when he came back up. Both him and Rosine were in the lineup. You could tell like he's an NHL. Like he can defend at the NHL level. Mm-hmm. Then he goes back to the AHL for 2 games, and it was almost like a good thing for him because he immediately started to think about offense again. Right. And he came back up, and immediately the offense was there. Yeah. So it was like you could tell early on. It was like I need just to make sure that I'm as responsible as I possibly can on defense. I'm not going to get myself out of position. I'm going to grip the stick a little tighter. Yeah. And then he goes to the AHL and comes back up, and he just is a guy that I just don't know how he can't leave the lineup. No. He is part of what I think is one of the more skilled lines but balanced lines they have right now with Doan and Josh Norris, who again maybe we don't talk enough about Josh Norris. He just reminds me of Tim Connolly, except better on defense.
Okay. Well, Connolly's pretty good on defense. Yeah. He's a little bit more physical, I think.
Yeah.
And he's, I would say, a little less playmaker-y and a little more shooter, but there are similarities there for sure.
It's not just the number. I see a little Jack at times with him, where it's
real
real smooth, real like sort of flowy, and he can rip the puck around, and he's good. He's real good in his own end, and I think that's what Jack was for a long time, and that was where I was going to go with your question about like what's changed. Like, I think they've got a bunch of centers that can play.
Yeah,
and that is
down the
huge
middle
in this league. You look around the league and you look at center depth. There's not many teams with as many guys that can play the position as well as the Sabres have.
Right, and like last night's a game for that because I thought it was not Tage Thompson's night.
No.
I did not like. There were turnovers. He was not able to really stay on pucks.
Right,
he was losing it. He was getting knocked down. And I think Krebs has done pretty well playing in that spot, and I think is overachieved.
Better than I thought.
Yeah. But he's been fine.
You saw last night. Like last night's a night where if Tage isn't on his game, he doesn't really have another play driver on his line to help him out. So when you have an off night like that from Tage in past years, you don't really have other centers.
Yeah. To pick it up.
The year they missed by 1, you did, because Cousins had been playing so well and Middlestat had been playing so well. Yeah. But not since then. Whereas last night, he has an off night, and Norris makes a big contribution on that first goal, and McLeod was great all night. Like you've got 2 other guys that can contribute in that.
It's probably the best second line though that the Sabres have had in years.
We can call it their second line. I feel like it's their number 1 line.
The Norris
line?
I'm talking about the Norris line.
Yeah, the Norris line.
You want to call that? I
want to call that their number 1 line.
I agree with that. Okay. I think that they are probably the most responsible while also having this almost really the same offensive output that the Tage line does.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I really think, and it's going to be, I hate to give them credit for the thing that Adam said that they wanted to do, but they are way better at defending.
Oh my God.
This year.
Sure. Of course.
Last night they gave up 18 shots.
Right.
That is not.
And 9 in the first 7 minutes.
Right.
And then they just shut it down.
And that's what they've been so good at, and that has been what they have been so that has been so frustrating with them is that they would just fold.
And the guy I've been kind of most about, Michael Kesselring, has looked really good over a 2-game stretch. Especially, he's knocking on the door offensively.
He's looking a little healthier. Yeah. He was skating with more speed.
I've been very frustrated with him. You're right. The last 2 games have been a lot better for him. He's been moving his feet a little better. I like that a lot.
Maybe I shouldn't call the Norris, Ostlund, and Tuck line their number 1 line this morning because I just looked, and they actually did play the least amount of minutes at 5-on-5 last night of any line. It was all pretty close, but they played 9 minutes, and the other 3 were all a little bit over 10. They were good. The line, though, last night that was the most dominant, looking at some of the numbers here, when the McLeod, Quinn, and Benson line was on the ice, the Sabres outshot St. Louis 12-2.
Yeah. That line can be just hounding. And you've got a guy that can really finish with Quinn, and then a couple of guys that will just go.
And Quinn just looks so much faster and twitchier.
I think the whole thing looks faster, doesn't it?
Yes.
Everything.
Everyone's moving quicker, and maybe that is maybe that's everything folded into one. Maybe that's their team defense. Maybe that's the depth of the lineup. That's, the team feeling like it's a little bit more skilled than it was last year right now because Norris is performing and because you have 2 kids that are doing the job.
Right.
And Doan has ascended to where I think everyone hoped he would be.
And Lindy.
It really is. It's funny. Brian mentioned this on the postgame show last night. Someone had tweeted it in that, does anyone have sympathy for is how it was set up? And I personally don't, but it's a valid question maybe to ask, or maybe just lay it out. Like, how do you feel if you're Kevin Adams right now?
You feel terrible.
Because
you feel
this
terrible.
is the team you built.
Yes.
Now they might be motivated in a different way because of the GM change. And I thought that move was years too late.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to tell you that, they made a mistake because the team that built this team is no longer employed. But I could see why a guy would feel frustrated because your guys are, like, your blueprint is starting to come to fruition here. Right. At least this offseason's blueprint. There were a lot of other failed blueprints before that I think should have caused, a job change then. But this blueprint was, I'm going to get Doan, I'm going to get Kesselring, I'm going to get Josh Norris, and I'm going to be stronger and tougher to play against, and I'm going to have these guys are going to ascend offensively enough to give me the scoring I need. And all of that has really come to fruition.
I think isn't that
not telling you that they made a mistake?
No, absolutely.
Don't get me wrong.
I agree. I think that there's 2 sides of what that, how to sort of think about that is like.
Yeah.
He built a team, yes, but also his attitude, his
sure. There's more to it.
His presence,
of course.
I think was I think we're seeing it holding this team back in a significant way. Whether that was because the players didn't trust him to help them when they needed it, or it was they didn't have faith that the organization as a whole was committed to winning, whatever the reason may be, his presence and representation was holding the team back. And you can't avoid that at this point. Look at what's happening.
I think too, like if you saw the Unplugged or like the Sabres. The Embedded, yes.
They still call it Embedded?
I believe
Beyond Blue and Gold?
Yes.
Beyond Blue and Gold,
yes.
is the Sabres one.
Yarmo is just he's almost militant in his seriousness and his professionalism. And it's like, I don't want to say a guy like Peyton Krebs, but like a guy like Peyton Krebs from the first half of the season over the last 12 games looks to me like a different player. Yeah. Like he is playing with a different urgency is the word across the lineup. There is a notable, to me anyway, sense of urgency up and down the lineup of players that look like they know they need to play at that level and play with that level of urgency.
Yep.
Or they're going to find themselves out of the lineup. And, I mentioned Lindy in this too. I think part of the reason we're seeing them play faster is I think they trust what they're doing now. They believe in what they're doing. And they're like, it's so hard, especially for people that don't play or have never played team sports. Like, what belief and confidence do for teams that might not be the most skilled? Like, I'm sure this is happening in every revived Sabre group chat, text message chat that you have, because a lot of them had been retired. Let's be honest. Oh, yeah. Or they just turned into Bills chats or fantasy football chats.
They were dormant.
They were dormant.
They were renamed.
Chats.
They were renamed last night.
They were
again.
renamed.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like the last couple of weeks had been like, okay, well, what's the big trade? Yarmo's in now. Like, what's the big trade? And it's like, I look at the lineup, and I think you could say, I don't know where that trade happens right now because of how they're going to eventually lose a game. Like, they're not going to win 52 straight games or something. But at least I don't think. And then, like, at that point, what happens? I just feel like 2 weeks ago, it was just, let's just fire off as many great trade ideas as we have. To now, it's like, well, I don't want to move, Quinn or Krebs or like there was a month ago I was like, could we just waive Peyton Krebs already? Could we be done with this?
The thing they're doing is they are, this season right now with this win streak, they are fighting their way into, for what is going to be for us, a very unique conversation about Alex Tuck.
Yes.
Yes.
They are, because if they are digging in here and they're in a spot by points percentage this morning, and if that is going to be true from here till the deadline, and he's contributing, and last night he gets the belt in the locker room right from the players, and he scores an important goal. He kind of should have had two. He definitely shouldn't have had two because that was definitely a kick.
Yep.
Or kicking motion, I would say. And yes, I saw everyone's tweets. Like, yes, the Hudson Fasching kick was still a kick. He is a tough one to debate, I think, because he is helping them. And I think from his perspective, I wonder if this is what needs to happen for the price to come down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll have to come up.
Right.
Because the reports that they were offering something around Tage Thompson's number
That's crazy.
is insulting, I think, if that's true. That might have been Adams, right?
I think that's exactly what that was Adams.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to just do this.
But if the kid that grew up a Sabre fan is on the team that's about to look like it might actually finally break the drought, you're a 30. I've always thought that part of it for Tuck, and money was always the talking point because the league cap is going up and players are getting more, Adrian Kempe and whatnot, that's all true. But another part of it was, he's grew up a Sabre fan, but the guy is a 29-year-old veteran player who has been to the finals, has been to the playoffs multiple times, and I just thought you were going to need to give him evidence that he could win here before he would ever commit. And I think if you give him that evidence before the deadline, you're much more likely to get a more reasonable contract and meet in the middle. Because before, I just thought, I could be the biggest Sabre fan in the world, but am I going to sign up for the twilight years of my career to be on a team that I have no confidence in getting back to the postseason?
Right. There's no reason that he would, unless things turned the way that they have.
Right. Now,
you would have to get paid
Maybe.
so much more than you would make anywhere else to make up for the misery that you would be experiencing.
And, I mean, in fairness, look at the NFL right now. Look at the two guys last year that were talked about more than any two players in the league getting traded, Myles Garrett and Max Crosby. And Myles Garrett's having the greatest season ever, and no one's people are talking about it. But if he was on
a good team,
the Rams,
the Bills, or somebody else,
someone that was good,
they're to me they're such caution out. Now I'm not comparing, Alex Tuck is not Myles Garrett in the NHL, but what I'm saying is I think they're all cautionary tales of hey, I believe I'm a good player. I want to be on a team that's competing, and am I willing to take more money to be in a situation where, let's just be honest, I'm never going to win. Right. I'm going to waste the last couple of years of my career motivated by statistics, personal stats. How much longer can Myles Garrett play at that level if he's only playing for his personal statistics, for sack numbers? I don't know. Yeah. I would say great competitors will have a tough time with that.
Right.
Well, they're winning, so maybe it changes a little bit. Yep. 9-game win streak. Sabres beat the Blues last night. They dominated on the stat sheet, shots-wise, shot attempts, all of it. They were the better team, and they come away with the win. They are tied for a playoff spot with Florida. They are in by points percentage. They are 2 points back of the Atlantic Division's third-place team, which is Montreal at the moment. 803-0550 is the number. If you got a thought on the Sabres, we'll get Paul in a little bit later on in the show. Seth Appert at 8 o'clock. No Lindy today, but we'll have Appert on to talk about the win streak and this road trip. That'll be in an hour and a half. Want to go through, though, the scenarios with the Bills this week. And get Nate's take on Sunday, which we still have some carryover from the Eagles game, where I thought Josh Allen was not great, and that doesn't happen all the time, but big reason why they lost. There is a real possibility, I think it's stronger than that, actually. There's a very strong likelihood the Bills are going to Jacksonville in the first round of the playoffs, and we'll lay that out wide for you coming up. Jeremy and Joe. Jeremy's off today. Nate is in, and this is WG.